Hey everybody, it's Andre with the Crew Process, and I'm here with a long-term friend, Sheri McVaugh. How are you?
I am good, Andre. How are you?
It's good to see you. It's funny, we're only about an hour apart, but we didn't, I think the last time we saw each other was 3,000 miles away in Vegas, right?
I saw you at the back in September, and before that, it has been several years, I believe. We see each other in passing, and you did an awesome course in Harrisburg a few years ago that I brought one of my team members along, and she had mentioned that was the best course she had ever attended, and that was through Patterson.
Awesome.
Um,
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
it's always
and
great to see you.
I think we met at an ADOM conference or ADOM meeting. You had just set up a chapter in Lancaster County, and I was the first speaker for that meeting.
Yes.
So that was when we got a chance to meet. And you've been an office manager for a long time.
A long time, over 30 years.
Wow.
And initially, I was hired by the doctor who was the brother of a good friend of mine. I was working actually for the Walt Disney Company, and I was brought in to help him set up the office, establish some protocols, market the office, get the word out there. And my understanding that that was it. And then at one point, the doctor asked me when I was ready to start assisting, and it changed my entire perspective about dentistry. And eventually, we hired an assistant after it had been the two of us. We acquired patients, we hired more team members, and I have been managing the office for 30 years,
Yeah.
over 30 years, and I love it. I love the interactions with the patients, the doctor, our clinic, insurance companies, and trying to help patients. So I love dentistry.
Yeah. Well, I tease people all the time when I say, dentistry is very much like the mob, as somebody from
Yes,
Philadelphia. You say, oh yeah, you just got to drive a truck, and then all of a sudden you're part of the mafia,
yes, you
and you
are.
can't get
You
out.
you are sucked in.
Yeah, yeah, you can't get out. So one of the things that we wanted to talk about today is, your background with the Walt Disney Company. I was trained by Disney when I got into doing customer service. We are big customer service nerds. We love customer service.
Yes.
And when you take what we learned through Disney and what we've learned in the 30 years plus of being in dentistry, incorporating those two things into patient-focused customer service and how it relates for us in a big way to insurances, that's what we wanted to kind of talk about today. So give
Okay.
me give me some thoughts about, what you've encountered with, patient focused customer service. What give me some ideas of what you've run into.
I think that from the from every touch point with a patient is an opportunity for every team member in the office to provide customer service, to learn the patient's needs, to learn about what the patient's family might need,
Mhm.
um, to learn what the patient's motivations are. Why are they there? What are they looking for? Um, I think every touch point that we have with a patient is an opportunity for us that may not reap immediate rewards for us, but long term will benefit not only the patients, but ourselves. And as you mentioned, the training that we have and everything that I've done um, in my entire career, I've been working since I was 14 years old. And every opportunity that I've had has always been customer focused.
Yeah.
And I think it's ingrained um, that when a new patient contacts our office, we have an opportunity to provide them with this exemplary service that maybe they are just shopping around. And in the area that I live in, which is a conservative area, we have a lot of patients without dental insurance because we are in a conservative area. Every touch point with somebody from that initial phone call Um, Also calling specialist offices, calling other dental offices for information. I have encountered other people that I think if you're talking to me like that on the telephone, how are you talking to your patients?
Yep.
And it doesn't take any more effort from us to be kind, uh, and actually takes more effort to be snarky, I think, but
I agree.
it's encountered in this profession.
Yep.
So I just think every touch point, every conversation is an opportunity for us to grow as humans and be good humans and provide a service to these patients that we've welcomed into our dental offices.
Yeah. And I think you come from a dental office that was very much like the one I started in with a, small small office, single doctor, very patient focused. One of the things that I created when I worked in an office was, and I call it stepping stones because I don't like the idea of a script, but
Right.
as I have a conversation with a new patient and I'm talking to them, I'm taking them through an interview process to find out the
Yes.
right outcome. And again, like you said, long-term outcome. I want that patient to be a patient in my practice for a long term. You know, Tell me about your insurance. Tell me about you're looking for from us. Tell me about this, and then let me talk about the things that you told me about. You told me that you have XYZ insurance. Well, we're not a provider for that plan, although we're a provider for lots of plans. Let me tell you how that works within our practice. So we set an expectation that's correct for both of us.
Absolutely. Transparency for a little bit. And I think that's where we, in that initial phone call, and any time in the patient communication process, when you're discussing financials, be transparent, that patient is educated from the start in what your office provides, but also what your expectations are and what that looks like, whether they have insurance or not.
Yeah.
And in that same light, a few years ago, we developed a membership plan,
Mhm.
coming out of COVID, because several patients in our area were losing some of the ones that did have dental insurance were losing it. So we were getting phone calls about canceling appointments. And we had to pivot a little bit and look at what we could do to help those patients as well as continue to serve the patients without a traditional insurance plan.
Yep.
And I think membership plans are an amazing opportunity to continue to develop that relationship with your patients and provide them with a means of receiving their proper dental care, but also feel as though they are being treated in an extra special way.
Yeah. Yeah, and people know all the, I've pretty much written all of the how-to manuals for most of the membership plans out there, the commercial membership plans out there. I am a huge fan of membership plans, but because of my background, outside of dentistry, I want a membership plan to be more than just a discount program. I
Yes,
want there to be perks to being a member. That is the whole point of it, because I can go almost any office in the country and there's a membership plan.
absolutely.
My membership plan had better have some perks. Maybe, I get a Stanley Cup if I become a
Yes,
member. Not really, but I mean, there should be some perks to membership. So I'm with you 100%. And, one of the things like, we're in an area where, you have more than I do, surrounded by Amish, who are
yes,
phenomenal patients, but they want customer service connected to value, connected
yes,
to I don't want to have to come back over and over again for this service. And a lot of that is about taking care of the customer, but showing them the need and they will pay for it.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And it is educating. And as you said, we are in a high Amish Mennonite community.
Yep.
We have a hitching post at our office
Mhm.
because we do have horse and buggy Amish that come. We have patients that have drivers because they don't drive themselves.
Mhm.
And they are amazing members in our community. And what our team does is we support them as well as them supporting us. So, um, for those patients of ours when we're talking to them and we're interacting, and as you mentioned, kind of an interview process, we're asking them um, if they have so, farm stands, if they have little stands along the road, what is it that's at your produce stand? We have some with flowers, we have some with fruits and vegetables, and it's amazing for our team to be able to go out and support them as well.
Yeah.
And they know you. They develop relationships with people in this community as much as we develop them. Um, One of my previous careers in life was a Tupperware manager. And it was interesting to me. They almost interviewed you before they invited you into their home. And once you were accepted into their home as their Tupperware consultant,
Mhm.
um, you were invited into so many different homes. My family had been invited to their homes for picnics and dinners. They they're amazing people in the community. You just have to reach out to them.
Yeah.
So we're very blessed
Yeah.
in this
And
area. And again, it's all about customer service and
yeah.
learning about your patients, learning about the members of your community, no matter how that looks for you.
Right. And that's the perfect microcosm of thinking about building a practice because it is once you get in good with one, that
Yes.
spirals to the next and spirals to the next and to the next. It's almost like the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon. You
Yes.
could almost go back to the kernel of your original patient base and say that person is referred by this person, and then that family is connected to this person, and go and on and on. And that's the way most practices are built, no matter what people think. People say, "Oh, most of my patients come from Google," but have you ever asked why that person Googled your name? And it was because Sheri, right down the road from me, told me how wonderful a practice you were. So I Googled to find your name. But Sheri
Yes.
is really the kernel of the existence of your patient base. It's an interesting setup to understand the dynamics of customers. Again, I always think, I never think of patients as anything other than customers until they get the bib on and then they become patients. When you take the
Yes.
bib off, they become customers again.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So. Well, this is such a great topic. I love talking about this, and I love talking about how offices have used this. And we'll talk about another thing while I have you on the line. Let's talk about ADOM membership and talk
Okay.
about how important that is for, because a lot of us, when now 30 years ago when you started was when I was, I had already been at the front desk for a little while, and now I was sort of rolling into consulting. But 30 years ago, 30 plus years ago, when I worked at the front desk, I knew nothing. I mean, literally, I learned from and we didn't have the internet back then. So I learned from reading dental economics and trying to get some magazine articles, reaching out to people who, really didn't want to help me because they were the competition. And if I had had something like ADOM available to me, this web of people who I could say, hey, what do you guys do? I know it's Kansas, but you can tell me a little bit about how you do things in Kansas. And guess what? It's the same thing here in Pennsylvania.
Right. No, I agree. And I I was one of those offices when Heather, who is the founder of ADOM, started to try to reach out to offices. I'm sure you got those rolled up faxes just like I did. And at that time, my doctor wasn't convinced that it was something that was needed. And I learned the same way you did. Those CDT code books, those were my guidance. Those were my dictionary. Again, we didn't have the internet. So I had to learn, and you could call these somebody and they would help guide you. You talk to valid human beings who assisted you. And I learned a lot from some of those representatives. And I've always been forever grateful for that and truly miss having that interaction with them because I met amazing people.
Yeah.
But like you had to reach out all across all aspects of publications to learn what you needed to learn to be valid in what you were doing and to do it correctly.
Yeah.
I always said I didn't want to end up in an orange jumpsuit um, in one of the local prisons because I needed to know how to do things ethically and legally.
Yeah.
So eventually, I was able to talk my doc into a membership. It was the best investment that I made in myself that he made in me as well.
Yeah.
And in 2016, I started a local. At that time, there were AADOM chapters. We had 3 members, and as you mentioned, you were our first speaker. And having, I think there might have been 5 or 6 people there.
Mhm.
And somebody said to me, "Aren't you upset that there were only 5 or 6 people?" And I said, "No, there's 3 of us, and there's 3 other people that want to learn."
Exactly.
And we had you as a speaker.
Mhm.
So every time things change, we acquire new members, and some move on to other careers. I've kept in touch with most of them. And our chapter or our local DPLN organization has continued to grow. And we were actually the tier 1 chapter of the year this at the past conference in September,
Yeah.
which was really exciting for us. But more than that, we had been invited, and I don't know if you were aware, the Baltimore chapter, which is we flew out with most of the ball out of the Baltimore air about the conference. They mentioned to us, if we are called as chapter of the year, here's shirts for you, throw them on. You've been with us this entire week, put them on and come up on the stage with us. So that's what we're going to be named next. And I don't think I could believe that moment, that all of this hard work that we've all put into this organization and this desire to learn, that we were recognized in that manner. So it was it was very heartfelt for me to be able to celebrate with these other people in another organization their win, and
Yeah.
then to celebrate ours as well. And the friendships that are formed, as you mentioned, they're in other states across the country.
Yeah. Well, and that's the beauty of shared success, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that I got a chance to hang out with you. We're recording this on December 30th. So have a happy new year, and I'll see you in the new year. See you in 2025. Definitely we'll see you soon. But thanks for doing this. This has been a lot of fun.
Thank you, Andre. I really appreciate it. It was great to chat with you.
You too. Talk to you soon.
Okay.